the importance of taking time away this week on Happy Hour. And no intro music either, because we are in a special location and I have a special guest with me. This is going to be a fun conversation because it's my guest's first time ever podcasting. And it's the first time we've ever podcasted from this location. So we're just going to jump right in. My special guest is my second oldest child, my second oldest son. He is a volunteer at the cathedral and truly an amazing young man. Welcome, Ethan.
Hi, it's nice to be here. First time podcasting.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I've never really had the opportunity to until now.
Till just now. Yet your siblings have been on.
Yes.
I've had Noah a couple of times.
Yep.
The girls, there was a special episode we did with them. Maybe a year ago for sure, I think. So
that long?
Yeah, it's been a while. Might even be 2 years. I don't even know. I'll have to go back, but I'm happy to have you here. We're getting closer and closer to being the 100th episode of Happy Hour.
Is there anything special you have planned for that?
Not yet. I was thinking of some things. Maybe a special location, kind of like we are now. We haven't disclosed where we are right this second, but maybe some kind of special location. I don't know. It'd be kind of fun.
Maybe have, multiple guests.
Yep. Maybe
special guests or something.
Maybe 100 guests for the 100th episode.
A lot of mics going around.
Yeah. Just run around downtown Knoxville. Hi.
More like interviews at that point.
Yeah, that'd be funny. That'd be good. Well, do you want to tell everybody where we're at for our special location?
Yes, we're at the St Meinrad in Indiana.
Yeah, the Arch Abbey.
Yes.
This is where our seminarians go for the Diocese of Knoxville, where they come to study formation, and a lot of retreats are held here. I've been here several times, but this is your first, yes?
Yep, very first time.
Your initial thoughts. Let's talk about when we first rolled up. What were you thinking?
Well, I was thinking this campus was going to be a lot smaller at first, because I've always imagined a seminary being like a one building thing, and little classrooms here and there, but there's just so much to explore in this kind of little space that we have here. We got the gift shop, classrooms, Thomas Aquinas Chapel, just even a theater. There's so many rooms to explore, and I've only been here a day, so I haven't been able to experience everything, but first thoughts, it's very peaceful here as well. So
yeah, in fact, right now, we are just in rocking chairs up on the third hall, or third floor of Bede Hall, and we have this great view overlooking some hills, a lot of trees, a lot of nature. It's beautiful here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice to see like the mountains just out in the distance, seeing how far we can see, and seeing a lot of birds too.
Yeah, because in Knoxville, while we have mountains for sure, we've got Smokies, we've got a lot of mountainous ranges. You can't necessarily see over them. It's just kind of, they stop, and it's a beautiful backdrop. But here, there are hills for sure, but it's not really mountainous. And you can kind of see for quite a ways, which is I like. Yeah. And speaking of the birds, we've just been noticing a lot more birds, and because we're up on the third floor, we get to see. We're kind of at the tree line.
Yes.
Yeah. For a lot of it, so we get to see a little bit above the tree line and everything. It's beautiful. It's relaxing. It's a much needed time away for me. How about you? Did you need some time away?
Well, yeah, working at the UPS store, there's a lot of craziness going on every day. And so having a few days to just kind of relax and look out into nature, and it's just been very calming, I get to think for a moment, instead of, trying to please everyone and trying to do all that I can. It's just time to relax and focus more on myself, I would say.
Yeah, I think, you and I, we had a great conversation just in these chairs yesterday. I felt like, we sat for about 45 minutes. We got to read some of the lectionary, a little bit of the lectionary. We each read our own passages, spoke about it a little bit, just kind of spoke about life. We don't get to do that a whole lot, very often. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
No.
We don't get to do it very often in life. It was kind of like one of those moments, but I think we need to take more time to do it. I feel like yesterday's conversation was something we should do on a regular basis. I don't know how you felt about it, but that's how I felt.
Yeah, especially with like, I mean, as you said, there's so many distractions during the day. I mean, I have 7 siblings, you have 8 kids, a lot of things to keep up with. You have your job, I got mine. There's not much time to kind of like where we kind of overlap in time, where we can sit down and talk. So, yeah, I mean, this was really refreshing, and I liked it. So,
Yeah, I think it's important to carve out time. I think you have to be intentional about making time, because you're right. If we're just left to trying to figure it out, what time can I give, then typically good conversations don't happen.
yeah,
You have to make it a point to carve out some time. That's really what we're kind of going over today and looking at and talking about is being intentional with our time, and making time for good conversation. I don't know that we typically are people that say, you know what, I'd like to have a good conversation. Let's schedule that. Right? Like, when's the last time you ever said, let's schedule a good conversation? Never said that in your life.
Never.
Yeah, it seems to be something that we don't think needs to be scheduled, I guess, maybe. Maybe in our minds we just think it's going to happen at the right times or whenever, but there's nothing like a really good conversation. That's why I like podcasting. They're just really good conversations, you know?
More of a designated time to kind of just sit down and talk about different topics, different things that, I mean, you would like to have talked about, instead of just, what do you need at this moment? Like, oh, Mom, I need you to pick me up, or, oh, Noah, you want to go to, I don't know, to this restaurant someday. And I mean, this is more like you get to dive in deeper instead of just
surface level stuff. Yeah. Which we're really good at. We talk about a lot of things that don't matter a lot, right?
Yep.
The majority of our time is probably spent talking and encountering people over things that are not everlasting, but more temporary.
Yeah.
Right? You know, sports teams, weather, entertainment, those seem to be a bulk of our discussions and time spent. But really sitting down for a good conversation with someone, encountering them, and just really questioning. There was this statistic that I loved was, and I'm sure I'll probably get the numbers, maybe not 100% accurate, but I think I'm really close. I think in the scriptures it says that, and I think I might have mentioned this last week or a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, is that Jesus was asked 187 questions. He asked 306 questions, and he answered 3 questions. So what does that tell us about the importance of asking questions?
It's more like, asking questions, like trying to learn more about like other people and trying to like figure out stuff first instead of answering those questions. Instead of like, I mean, you could make a wrong point, but I mean, you're less likely to make said wrong point if you learn more, ask more questions, learn more about people and, what they're interested in, what they know, and kind of adapting that to what kind of questions you ask and what kind of questions you answer. Yeah,
doing more listening than talking, I guess, would be. And I was practicing that this morning at breakfast. We had a friend sit down with us, and I just really wanted to ask questions, just because I want to listen, I want to encounter, I want to hear better. And it's just so much better. For me, it makes the conversation so much more rich when it's not just me talking.
Yeah.
And I get to listen and encounter. But I think we need to set aside time for that. So this importance of setting aside time, not just for yourself, but also for your relationships, I think is pretty vital. If we're not putting aside specific time to pour into each other, then it usually doesn't happen. It kind of does in certain ways, but not in deep, impactful ways. We can go, there's a difference between like our conversation yesterday and then if we just go to the movies or, we go to the mall or we play a video game together or whatever it is. It's a much deeper sense of relationship when we just sit down and really listen to each other. I like that a lot more. Now, don't get me wrong. I like a good video game.
Yeah.
I like a great movie. But there's something fulfilling.
You also tend to remember those moments more because, I mean, how many movies do you go and see every year? How many like restaurants do you go and sit down and eat? I mean, you can't even name them all. But
Right.
when you have like these deep conversations, like you said, for like close to an hour, I mean that sticks with you for a long, long time.
Yeah, and I think you can schedule two things at once. So say you do want to still go out to eat, but you also want to have a good conversation. Well, that's a great place to have an intentional conversation.
Yep.
Hey, let's
Yep.
go out for lunch and let's just catch up. Let's just talk. Whatever the easy encounter is. But when we do that, I think we also have to be intentional about being willing to ask more questions than we answer. Right? Being willing to learn more from the other than what we can give them, or this sense of what we can give them. I think we grow in an appreciation for the other person when we have no agenda, when we just genuinely want to sit down and encounter them, see how their day is. But now, one of the other flip sides of that is being intentional about the time that you spend for yourself, to
Yes.
discern your own life, to discern your choices, where you're headed, where you currently are, all that. How much time do you get in an average day? Well, okay, that's maybe a bad question. How much time do you take? Not get, because we're given a lot of time, but how much time do you think you take on an average day discerning where you're at and your future and really going into it and talking to the Lord about it? How much time do you actually think you spend doing that on an
Well,
average day?
on an average day, I would say about 15 to 30 minutes at most, I would
Wow,
say.
you're way above, I would say, the average.
course, I use my bedroom a lot for taking that 20 to 30 minutes a day and doing that. But sometimes the bedroom gets too comfortable. Sometimes I can't focus, right?
That's a good point.
And that's when I kind of like go to the exercise room or go upstairs, and it helps me keep more awake, keep more just like not mellow and not like just going through it just because.
I think too, a good point to make is, I don't know if you've ever felt this, but sometimes, again, I'm a goal-driven person, so I like to get things done. I like to make check mark boxes. I like to X things out, right? But there are times where maybe I'm on the exercise bike or on the treadmill or just sitting and watching videos, right? It's like I'll watch some YouTube videos, maybe on some stuff that I want to learn or check out the newest artificial intelligence or whatever it is, right? And there'll be a moment it hits me, I'm just thinking, my goodness, I am wasting a lot of time doing this. I should probably, I don't know, I should be better. I should talk to the Lord a little bit more, maybe put YouTube away or something like that. I don't know if you've ever felt that, but I definitely have felt that. And I think an important part is to make sure that we're not, like, feeling that and knowing that is very good. Like, just understanding that sense, you should celebrate that little bit of a victory. Oh, that's a great reminder. Oh, yes, that's right. My conscience is speaking to me. That's a good win.
Yes.
But then the second part would be to actually do it, right? Like, it's not good enough just to recognize, oh, I should be better at this. Oh, I should actually do it then too, right?
There's definitely been some times where, you're going through the YouTube shorts.
Yep.
You're looking at them. 20 minutes pass by and you're like, oh, I got time, and you keep going, and then it hits you like, oh man, I just spent like 40 minutes just like scrolling through stuff that just entertains me for a minute, and then I scroll on to the next one instead of doing something proactive. And some days I hang up that phone and do something else, and some days I'm just like, I'll keep on scrolling. I have to admit it, sometimes it's addicting sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's good to know when to stop. Mm-hmm. And it's also like good, as you said, it's a good feeling knowing that, like, that you've been here for a long time, and you feel like you have to do something else. Yeah. But it's also, as you said again, like, it's important that you actually do something else.
Yeah, don't beat yourself up about it. Just do something about it, right? Yeah. Like, hey, okay, we all get distracted. We all lose sense of purpose, of meaning. We all like to be entertained. Sometimes we just like to, quote unquote, veg out, right? But when you start to realize that, then don't be so hard on yourself. Enough people do that, right? Instead, just do something about it. When you feel that, okay, that's a good sense. I need to walk away from what I'm doing and go pick up my Bible, or go for a walk outside and listen to the Lord and talk to the Lord, whatever it is. I think that's how we start to really find our sense of purpose and being, and what we're supposed to be doing in life. That's one of the great things about reflecting, about taking time to, like, sit here in these rocking chairs and look out at nature, is it makes me think about, first of all, kind of the fleeting time that we have. When we were talking yesterday, I said, you're about to be 20 years old.
2 decades old.
2 decades old, which, if you go according to statistics, 25% of your life you've already lived.
Yeah.
Which you start to think about that, you say, whoa. And
seems
then
absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's it can go by, and if we look at it that way, I think it helps. On the alpha videos, at the very end of the first video, they talk about that. They say, if you live the average 78 years or whatever it is, you'll experience life in these different ways, and it's something like 6 months waiting at red lights. Yeah. There's like years you spend in front of a screen.
More than half your life you're sleeping.
It's sleeping. A third of your life, right, is sleeping. All these different things. And then it talks about, maybe how much time we have left. Yeah. I think that's really important to keep in mind, is how much time do I have left? I think that's a great thing to think about and reflect. In our culture, we actually don't value that. We run away from it. In fact, we're told not to talk about it.
Yeah.
People don't want to talk about death. They don't want to talk about the fact that this life is temporary, but it is temporary. It is fleeting. And if we don't reflect on that, then maybe we don't live well. Maybe we spend an entire life running away from it, trying to be entertained, and forget the point of it is to draw us to that door that we're supposed to walk through to meet Jesus, right?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people in their lives focus on they haven't seen heaven. And they don't know, I don't even know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so, that makes people scared.
Sure.
And they try to build on their lives where they can actually, they can see what's going on around them, and they know, what to do to get a better life here. But then you're losing focus on, relationships and most importantly, your relationship with God. You're kind of putting it on the back burner if you're trying to more so focus on your life here instead of your life in heaven.
Yeah. Well, I love this, Ethan. This is a good conversation. This is a great reflection time. So as we wrap up, what's one thing you're going to take away from spending time here at St Meinrad in this more, because it's out kind of in the middle of nowhere. It forces you to think and reflect. What's one thing that you're going to take away from your time here at St Meinrad?
To definitely be more calm and peaceful, and to make more time for myself in more prayer, and maybe going out on the porch once in a while just to experience the nature, maybe go on a walk, to do my Bible in the year, and to, just focus more on not work and not what I have to do next, and more so live in the moment.
I like that a lot. Yeah, I think I too will probably, again, just spend more intentional reflection time on a daily basis. Even no matter what, I'm going to start small, but I want to work my way towards spending significant time each day, reflecting on the scriptures, reflecting on my purpose of life, and ultimately my relationship with the Lord. So I have loved having you here. It's been great. I know we got to leave today after a little bit, but it's been a nice getaway. Thrilled you could be here on the podcast as well.
It's been a pleasure and an honor to be on here.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you guys listening, and we hope that you get time to reflect, take time out of your busy schedules to think about the things that matter the most. Ultimately, your relationship with your Lord and your Savior. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time on Happy Hour.